Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our reaction and review for The Curse, Season 1, Episode 2. I know we have a lot to talk about here, but I have a viral video I need you guys to see. So do you want to just watch it here? Do you want to, go down the hallway to
Oh my
watch it?
God, are you about to pour a Gatorade on me?
I was just thinking when that happened, it's like at the end of the Super Bowl, the coach gets the Gatorade bath. You gave that guy the Gatorade bath and he didn't even do anything. You're just trying to rope-a-dope this guy and you still humiliated him at his job. Congratulations, Asher.
You know what? He farted on Asher. I didn't
Oh,
feel that
okay.
bad for him.
People farting. You don't do it.
On purpose
Okay.
to be a jerk. So, you got what you got.
Okay, yeah, you deserve ridicule. I'm not sure you deserve Gatorade bath at your place of employment. But you know what? This show is a lot about people who really deserve the worst because Asher and Whitney are the worst. And I think what we are watching here is a slow disintegration of whatever these two have presented themselves to be. It's all gonna come out. It's all gonna be revealed.
Absolutely. I mean, the curse, we saw what happened in the first episode where that young girl cursed him, but really, we all know we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
These two are their own curse in this community, and we really saw it in this episode.
I at least am coming out of this episode with a better sense as to why Asher is the way that he is. I can't speak to anything else, but I can at least speak to why I think Asher is the way that he is. We will get more into that, rest assured. Before we do go any further here, if you want weekly live streams all about the curse, be sure to join our Patreon. We have a link in the description below that is all about that. We have such a great time over there every week. And with a show like this, you know that there's a lot to talk about in that sort of format.
Yeah, there absolutely is. And we've been having a lot of fun with them so far.
Yeah, okay. I'll give my tinfoil hat theory as to why Asher is at least the way that he is right from the start.
Great.
This is a guy who seems to be pretty miserable in all aspects of his life. He had a job at the casino that he clearly did not like. He doesn't really seem to be that close in contact with a lot of his friends. We saw his casino friend who he humiliated in this episode, but we also kind of got the sense, at least through everything at the end of this episode with Whitney, that Whitney may not be entirely faithful to him. He's already very, very paranoid about that, and he's really concerned about that. And we've already seen him lash out at people who even question her about anything that she's doing, like with the reporter in the premiere. I think he is so painfully insecure because he doesn't really have anything that is fully his. He probably wonders if he deserves Whitney or not, if he's just some loser. And this is where I think a lot of it is coming from with him. I'm not saying he's a sympathetic figure. I still don't like him. I do not want to hang out with him at all. But I think his attitude is deeply rooted in the age-old question of, am I good enough?
Yeah, I mean, even when Whitney found out that she was pregnant and she told him, he was like, oh, yeah, that's really great for you. I'm really happy for you. And then he followed it up with the question of, do you still love me? It was very much still about him. His character is very deeply insecure. He's not a good person. He lies all the time. He's kind of scheming all the time, and makes me wonder. I mean, we had talked about this in the last video, how did these two get together? Was there some sort of a scheme involved of how they ended up getting together at all? Because he's a really unlikable character. And I'm not saying Whitney's likable either. She's not likable either. Neither's Dougie. And this is it reminds me a lot of The Wire, Succession, where you have a whole cast of characters that are all unlikable, but you're still in it for them.
Also, The White Lotus, the real thing with The White Lotus and the reason I like that show and the reason I would say I enjoy The Curse ? I'm not on the level of enjoying it like I am The White Lotus, but I think that the common thread between these two shows for me is that I know this is a big surprise to everybody. I'm far from a perfect person. But I feel better about myself when I watch these shows because you know why? I think, you know what? At least I'm not that. At least I'm not Asher. At least I'm not Whitney. it makes me feel like I'm a much better person sitting through these people. And like, that's where at least some of my enjoyment is coming from. I do have this theory at this point, though, that Whitney is the worst person on the entire show, and she's just better at hiding it than everybody else.
She is definitely hiding a lot because when they learned that their pregnancy was not going to be viable and that they were going to have to try again in 6 weeks, and we had the technician being like, "Don't worry, it'll be okay. Good news, you were able to get pregnant. You'll be able to get pregnant. Yeah, no problem. Don't worry." Like trying to make them feel better about it. Some stuff came out about Whitney where Asher was just sitting there kind of
Mhm.
being like, I didn't know any of this. I didn't know that, you were pregnant in the past, that pregnancies had ended. I had no idea. Where later they're kind of sitting in the car and it's like, you can tell me anything, right? Oh yeah, of course. But she's just hiding so much about herself that it's making him even more insecure. And while he was seemingly insecure to start, that untrust is not helping. And it doesn't feel like Whitney's not telling him necessarily because she doesn't trust him.
Mhm.
It feels like she also has insecurities about herself. We saw them in this as well, where she was trying to cozy up to that artist Kara and try to be friends, try to invite herself out to, drinks with everybody. And she has no friends. She's completely incapable of making real connections because she's hiding so much. And you can't get to that deeper level if you don't open up. And the fact that she hasn't even opened up to Asher tells me that she's on a surface level definitely can't open up. And that's why people like Kara are just kind of rolling their whole face at her.
She's just a shell. It's interesting watching a character who's a shell, but it's also really frustrating watching a character who's a shell because she's just all about her image and she doesn't know when to go from real Whitney to fake Whitney. Even with their husband, she's fake Whitney. Like just after they just lost their baby, like she's immediately talking again about the project, about the
Mhm.
houses. Like, is she really in pain on the inside, or is she just that uncaring and that self-involved about her career that that's the only thing that matters? I worry that it's the latter, just because you have to be able to open up to somebody, but at the same time, it's hard to know because she doesn't open up. She doesn't give anybody any access.
What happened to Whitney to get her to this point? Is it her upbringing and her parents? We only met them for a second, and
Yeah.
she seemingly talks to them about a couple more intimate things. This was the whole thing with the small peepee that
Yeah.
she, revealed about Asher to them. But why is she like this with anybody else?
I think it's just a situation where she's probably found that turning off a certain part of her brain really works when it comes to having quote unquote success. And the funniest thing about this show to me is just this idea that being a star on HGTV makes you basically the royal family. And it's just like you're not gonna be that famous. Like, what's the upper echelon for home improvement superstars? Is it like Chip and Joanna Gaines, and then you get some, I don't know, some pottery you sell at Target? It's like that's it.
Yeah, that's it. And that's the thing about it, right? It's like being on the Hallmark Channel. I'm going to pile on the Hallmark Channel.
Yeah.
Or being on HGTV, where there's a limit of where you're going to end up with this, because you really are curated with your personality. There can't
Yeah.
be any skeletons in your closet. You have to be very careful what you say to anybody. So it makes it a very small circle you can be in, because nobody's actually like that. So nobody can get to know you. And in this type of a, new age 2023, where it's like people want to make genuine connections with people, it's one of the reasons why people are on YouTube all the time, or
Yeah.
TikTok. They're trying to find people who are more genuine that you can really, connect with and make these relationships with. And that doesn't happen on the Hallmark Channel and HGTV. Sorry, not sorry, but it's true.
Wait, you're saying that people don't
Oh,
immediately fall in
no.
love when they're dog walkers and they see each other on the street, and it's like, it's a leash to my heart.
It's a leash to your
See,
heart. Tell me you made that up.
I did make that up. See, this is if I, Hopefully we are YouTubers forever. If for some reason YouTube shuts down tomorrow, Hallmark Channel, I am available to
Oh
write
my
all of your terrible
goodness.
titles. But no, here's the one moment that I related to Whitney in this episode, the art exhibit, because I have been to art museums
Mhm.
before, and I like art. Like I am a fan, but at the same time, number one, I struggle to relate to art, and two, because I'm legally blind. Anytime that I go to an art museum, the people who work there, understandably from their vantage point, they always get mad at me because I stand a little bit too close to the art, and I never feel that comfortable when I'm in there. It's just her in that tent. And by the way, I would never even go in that tent. That's just way too personal for me. And she just doesn't know what to do when the woman is screaming. She hands her what's apparently turkey. I wondered, is this like something really, really gross? And that's why this woman is screaming about it. I don't know, but that feeling of I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. That is the only way in which I have related to Whitney at all through 2 episodes of The Curse.
Well, that's also why watching when the governor went in
Yeah.
there and she just started screaming, he was like, "Is that it?" I was like, "Oh no!" Me and him, we relate because like I like art, I enjoy art,
Yeah.
but I'm not. I would have gone in there and felt the same thing. Like I'm sitting in here alone with you. You've
Yeah.
just cut some turkey and handed me a plate, and now you're screaming in my face. I would also be like, I don't get it, and that's okay.
Okay, I'm gonna take a stab at what's going on here with this, but I'm no art critic. Please, care a fictional art person on The Curse, don't be mad at me. She's giving something of herself to someone else and then having a reaction as a result of it. Is this a manifestation of the anger that she feels because the Native American people have given so much to colonists, to other people, and then are exploited because she's also got like these baseball memorabilia from all these teams that have exploited Native
Mhm.
American mascots? Is that what's going on here? I don't really know. I don't
It's a
even know.
pretty good take.
I don't know if there's actually a point behind all of this or not, or if it's just here's Asher and Whitney trying to fit into this world and be a part of this world that clearly they just don't understand.
Let's talk about Dougie because
Ugh.
this is the first time that we really got something a little bit deeper about him, and man, it was dark. So he was
Yeah.
out on a date with somebody where he revealed that his wife is dead, that she had died in a car crash, that he's saying he's not responsible for, but you can tell that he feels that he's responsible for it because he had been drinking and somebody T-boned them and she's
Mhm.
gone now. So, I mean, that's a pretty dark story for him of what
Yeah.
has happened to him. You can see that it's really affected him. I mean, even after they've had a couple drinks, he's like, "Hey, I'll drive you around," and then he's taking like a breathalyzer while he's driving
Yeah.
and then pulls over because he's like, "Oh, I'm over the legal limit. Let's pull over." I was just like, "Why didn't you do this before you got into the car? If you had it in your glove box the whole time?" And I was like, "How is this woman going to react?"
Yeah.
And for her to turn and be like, "I really appreciate that you pulled over," because a lot of guys wouldn't. I was like, "Okay, but
Yeah.
but he could have done that before he got into the car or offered you a ride. Like you were already like, 'Are you okay to drive?' I'm fine." You had a breathalyzer the
Yeah.
whole time in your car.
Dougie doesn't work for me. I'm just gonna say that. Dougie's my least favorite part of this episode. He's my least favorite character, and it's not that I like Asher and Whitney by any means, but at least I feel like their story is kind of grounded in something. They've come to Espanola with this purpose. They're kind of infecting the community with their
Mhm.
nastiness. I think eventually it'll blow up in their face. Like Dougie, he's just there to do the reality show. Like, he at the end of the day, he doesn't matter as much to me. And yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of insight into his character, but then it is also everything you just said, where yes, she can be more than happy that okay, you pulled over, good for you for being responsible. But yeah, you should have done this beforehand. Or you should have just been like, you know what? I have been drinking. Let's just go ahead and order you an Uber and then you can go back. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it just continues for me to show that he's just kind of a terrible person, that he had the most tragic thing that could possibly happen to him.
Yeah.
And then he's still like, "I'll give you a ride." And he was unsure that he's going to do this again. Like it was this whole cast of characters are all just really, really terrible people. Okay, let's talk about Asher. We talked a little bit about this at the beginning. He's been running circles around this reporter for 2 weeks now, where she's like, where's the video? You don't have the video. Give me the video. I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
Okay. He decides to go back to the casino where he worked. He, ends up tricking his friend into seeing this jogging video.
Yeah.
He tries to spill a Gatorade on him, misses. It just goes on the floor. Asher's so desperate, he just pours it on his head, and he ends up actually getting the video.
This is my favorite part of the episode. This whole sequence is so stupid, but it's just also so absurd. It's basically watching Idiot Bond, where you have Asher, who is going in here secret agent style to try to extract the data. And yes, the viral video did make me laugh, even though I've seen that same sort of thing about 2 billion times. I'm not going to deny that. Him pouring Gatorade on the guy's head made me laugh too, just because I would be so mad. I would get up and, I don't know, kick somebody in the stomach. You deliberately did that, you jerk.
Hey, his friend deliberately farted on him.
The farting?
I would rather have Would you rather have a Gatorade poured on you? Or would you rather have somebody fart on you? Leave it in the comments.
Really? This is a question?
Yeah, that's a question for you too.
I'd rather have somebody fart on me, because you know what? I'm not saying I want it.
Gatorade, please.
Please don't fart on me, but it's just like, at the same time, the fart, you can, I don't know, get some cologne. You can get the smell away faster than you can get Gatorade all over yourself faster, because then you got your clothes, you got your hair, it's sticky, no on the Gatorade. I am completely out on the Gatorade.
No on the fart. Please don't come fart on me.
Okay.
You can fart on Matt.
No, I don't do either of these. Like, this is...
You also can't pour Gatorade on me if you say...
Okay, now that we've laid all of that out. Now, where I think this is sort of going, and this is just, I guess this is my tinfoil hat theory on all of it, it's just that Asher's going to get this casino destroyed. Like, he thinks that he's just doing this, like, one little thing, and he's already made it clear, I don't want to hurt the tribe. I don't want to hurt all the innocent people. But reporters don't work that way. Nope. Reporters are going to get to the bottom of a story, and if you have a story, you're going to end up destroying this casino. You're going to end up hurting your friend. You're going to end up putting all of these people out of business. You're really going to end up hurting the tribe. And then at the end of all of this, they're going to build a couple of eco-conscious homes, and they're going to come out and they're going to be like, all better, look what we've done. And then everybody is going to hate them.
Yeah, and I mean, the reporters already kind of uncovered stuff like the coffee place. They only got a lease for 6 months. So what happens at the end of 6 months? This place just gets closed down, like it doesn't find its footing. Is there enough there for that place to really thrive and help change the community? No, 6 months isn't really enough time to establish anything.
There is a part of me that wonders if this show is going to put either Asher or Whitney on a path where they sort of see, okay, you know what? There are some good people here. Maybe you should try to actually help. But I don't think that's the sort of show we're watching. This show is too dark and too twisted and cringy that I don't think there's a happy ending coming, guys.
No, especially, we saw Whitney and the governor talking, where the governor at some point was just kind of like, hey, like, no one ever really comes and listens to us or pays attention to us in a way like you have. Like, she does have a way of making some people feel something, but like other people can see right through it, like Kara does, where it's kind of like they're friends, but not really.
Yeah, it's just somebody you say hi to and hug when you're at an event, and then that's basically it.
Yeah, it also feels like, I think Kara's just working her job. I mean, we even saw at the event, Whitney's like, oh yeah, we have 4 of her pieces. Okay, so that's where it is then, your friendship is transactional, that's okay. Some friendships are, but Whitney doesn't get it.
No, she doesn't, and I don't think she wants to, and that's really the heart of this show. I don't think these people want to be anything other than who they are, and who they are is terrible.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's our take on The Curse episode 2. Does anybody feel appealed by any of these characters? Actually, let me rephrase that. Do you just like any of them? Are these people just all terrible? Are you still enjoying watching it even though they're terrible?
Yeah, and don't forget, fart or Gatorade. Leave it in the comments.
This is going to be a very interesting comment section. Also, like we set up earlier, join our Patreon. We have weekly live streams all about the curse. Thank you to those who are supporting us
Thank
there.
you.
We'll see you here next time.